Let's get to our guest right now. Chris Cox is joining us from the NRA and the legislative action branch of the NRA, and they're the ones that look at political races around the country and give endorsements. And Chris, welcome into the program.
Mark, thanks for having me. It's good to be with you.
And I'll just say up front, we're not related. Although if I'm ever looking for work, I'll call you. How about that?
I appreciate that. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it. So first of all, let's just talk about the scope of this race. I mean, I heard Bob Schieffer of CBS say earlier, we say this all the time, the stakes have never been higher, but quite frankly, in all of his years, he's never seen one quite like this.
Well, I don't agree with Bob on much of anything, but he's actually right on that. The truth is this election is not about the next 4 years from a presidential standpoint or 6 years from a Senate standpoint. It's about the next 40 or 50 years based on the Supreme Court and based on the reality that some people and some voters don't know, and that's that this court is 4-4 after Justice Scalia's death on your basic right to own a gun in your home to defend yourself, not your ability to carry it, or in a pet store or anywhere else that make the liberals scream, but just your basic right to defend yourself in your own home. It's 4-4. In case you're wondering where Hillary Clinton stands, she said the Supreme Court was wrong on the Second Amendment when they decided you had an individual right. Well, Jason Kander supports Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton supports anti-gun justices. It didn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that Jason Kander and Hillary Clinton want to undermine your right to self-defense. The only way they can do it is if people who care about freedom stay home. And that's why I'm here begging everyone, if you care about personal freedom in this state and in this country, we've got to get out and vote. We've got to vote for Roy Blunt. God forbid Hillary Clinton wins. We need him there more than ever to block anti-gun Supreme Court nominees.
Here again, the Supreme Court is wrong on the Second Amendment, and I am going to make that case every chance I get. So I will need your help on that.
When you hear her say that, Chris, the bite you're referring to there,
yeah.
What she's talking about, in my opinion, is appointing justices so that somebody can challenge and overturn the Heller decision.
Well, Mark, it's important for your viewers, or your listeners rather, to understand what the Supreme Court said. The Supreme Court said that you have the right to keep a gun in your home to defend your family. God forbid somebody kicks the door in at 2 o'clock in the morning and you need it. That's all they said. They didn't talk about carrying outside your home. They didn't talk about AR-15s or anything else. It's literally just the most fundamental basic right to protect yourself. And Hillary Clinton said they got it wrong. And that really goes to her governing philosophy, how she views individuals, how she views individual freedom in this country, and what she thinks the role of the government is, which, that's a scary position for us to be in as Americans. And it's why it's so critical that all of us who care about this country and care about the sacrifices that our soldiers make, get out and respect them and vote and participate. And if you care about the Constitution, you care about freedom in this country, you think that the overreach and the regulation and the debt and all of it is too much, then you've got a great choice. You have a choice in Donald Trump. You have a choice in Roy Blunt. And if you care about the next 40 or 50 years from a Supreme Court standpoint, you have to vote Donald Trump and Jason Kander. It's that simple.
We're talking to Chris Cox from the National Rifle Association, and Chris, I know you guys obviously you've endorsed Roy Blunt in this race, and you've made other endorsements in Missouri, and I'll be quite honest, there's been probably a little bit of confusion on the part of some of the conservatives here in Missouri because, I got a postcard in the mail yesterday encouraging me to vote for Chris Koster, who's the Democrat running for governor in Missouri. I don't want to vote for Chris Koster.
Nobody can accuse us of being being partisan. Look, we take seriously people with records because come campaign time, talk is cheap. I mean, you can listen to Hillary Clinton talk about in the debates how she supports the Second Amendment. Barack Obama's done the same thing. So this is not, this was about Chris Koster for 16, 17 years without apology. Every time we asked him, he stepped up and was there on behalf of gun owners and sportsmen in the state. So we made the decision. It doesn't mean that Eric was bad on the issue by any stretch. He's a Second Amendment supporter, but you dance with who brung you, and Chris has been a good supporter. But you look at it also, there's a very clear difference when you start looking at Jason Kander and Roy Blunt, and that's where we've obviously focused the majority of our attention. It's critical that people understand that Jason Kander, can put out a neat ad, with him taking care of his gun, but doesn't have a whole lot of respect for yours.
Yeah, and that's an important difference. I look at Greitens, and I mean, he wasn't my candidate in the primary, but he's a Navy SEAL, and I think he's firing a .30 caliber machine gun in one of his ads. So I think a lot of people were confused when he didn't get an NRA endorsement.
Well, and he got a strong NRA rating because he is a Second Amendment supporter. But when we look at our endorsement decisions, we do take into consideration and give serious consideration to those who have been in the foxhole with us and those who have fought unapologetically. And there are some Missouri Democrats who meet that description. And if you're good on the issue, we look at where you are on the issue and not the political party you're affiliated with.
Chris, is there a place on your website people can go to see all of your endorsements?
Yes, if you go to NRA PVF for Political Victory Fund, pvf.org. If you're a member, you can go there, but you can also, Google NRA endorsements in Missouri and find out all the candidates that we've endorsed. But as I mentioned, this is it's high stakes poker, as you know. I mean, this is what we all believe in, what we all fight for, and the ramifications of a Hillary Clinton presidency with a Democrat-controlled Senate and what they will do. Not what they can do, but what they absolutely will do to the balance of the U.S. Supreme Court is simply too much of a risk for personal and individual freedom in this country. So I appreciate the opportunity, Mark, to come on your show and to make a last-minute plea to all the Missouri sportsmen and Second Amendment supporters. And whether you own a gun or not, if you think that you have the right to defend your family, then the choice is clear, and it's Donald Trump and Roy Blunt.
Oh, well said. Chris Cox with the NRA, thanks for your time.
Mark, thanks for having me. Take care.
All right. Yep. Take care of yourself. Appreciate him giving us some time. I mean, I don't know. I guess he's right. As an organization, they're looking for people that have a record of voting, and therefore they endorsed Chris Koster in this race. I mean, I don't agree with it, primarily because if Chris Koster becomes governor, he's going to do the bidding of Hillary Clinton if she's president. And Hillary Clinton is as anti-Second Amendment as you can get. So I don't agree with them on that, but I do appreciate their support for Roy Blunt. That's a close race, and Jason Kander's been talking a lot of stuff about Blunt that's simply not true. So I'm glad to see the NRA out there working on Roy Blunt's behalf. That's a good thing.